I'm going to go out on a limb here and say 100%ing Payday 2 is in the top percentile of difficulty when it comes to the classic completionist challenge in gaming. That is to say, clearing every milestone and earning every potential reward the developers have thrown at us is harder in Payday than 99% of games on the market. I'm talking on par with the Kumu mode in Evil Within, 3,000,000% in Binding of Isaac, and full clearing every Soulsborne game. It's an absolutely unbelievable grind. Now of course there's a degree of subjectivity to this, as the definition of 100% completion actually varies from person to person. Some think that earning all achievements equates to fully completing a game, others might argue that all achievements and optional in-game challenges constitutes that full clear. For reference, Payday 2 is still a monster when it comes to these measures of completion, but for me personally, and what I'm focusing on in this video, 100% means doing everything possible, earning everything available, and reaching max level. The all Korok seeds, 999 moons, or learning how to play Caravan kind of completion. Fallout New Vegas is my favourite game of all time, and I've still never won a game of bloody Caravan. But when it comes to the art of the full clear, Payday 2 has few rivals in terms of time commitment required and overall challenge you will face on that journey, and today I'm going to walk you through exactly why that's the case. When trying to 100% any game, it's natural to start at the achievements. Normally there are somewhere between 30 and 50 of these to pick up, which was true for Payday 2 as well back in August 2013. The game launched with 43 separate achievements for console, which already were a grind enough to defeat many if true achievements is anything to go by, with only 1% of members actually managing to complete them all. However, over on PC, we've been receiving more than 100 additional achievements on average per year, ranging from dopamine fodder to nightmarishly challenging. As of May 2023, there are 1,327 achievements for Payday 2 on Steam, including 13 unreleased challenges associated with the upcoming Crude Awakening heist. Admittedly, a sizable chunk of these can simply be earned by completing heists on every difficulty, but even so, we're looking at hundreds of hours worth of additional tasks the devs have left us with, just to get started on that 100% quest. Some of these are exceptionally difficult. In fact, I have an entire video discussing the hardest Payday 2 achievements individually, which you can check out if you'd like to learn more. Some highlights that will have you tearing your hair out include the classic Tabula Rasa, requiring a bare-bones completion of Hotstone Breakout, Auction Cry, a true speedrun achievement on Shacklethorn Auction, and Caution Wet Floors, Payday's misguided attempt at platforming on Green Bridge. These are all hard enough on their own, but then of course we have the co-op challenges to consider. Some achievements require your entire team to play in a specific and unusual way, such as Megalomania, which can be incredibly difficult to coordinate, even if it isn't that difficult in practice. Hell, even I, someone with thousands of hours logged into the game casually heisting, challenge running and speedrunning, have failed to pick up one of the co-op required achievements. My great shame, tag you're it, hangs over me like the sword of Damocles and remains my white whale to this day. And of course I'd be remiss if I didn't mention The End, an achievement earned by completing The Secret, a massive years in the making ARG that requires you to translate a made up language, play a song on an in-game piano, and hold off waves of supernatural cloakers. If you're interested in how that was solved, I have a video explaining exactly that, but for the purpose of this video, just know it's quite a feat of gaming in its own right. Then you have those difficulty achievements I alluded to earlier. Up until Mayhem or Deathwish, these might feel like freebies when compared to actually having to learn speedrun strats or trying to platform in the diesel engine. But that's not the case when it comes to the death sentence difficulty. While some in the community have truly conquered Payday 2's most hardcore difficulty setting, the vast majority of us still find it to be brutally challenging and bordering on unfair within certain heists. On Death Sentence, cops no longer suffer damage drop-off, have vastly inflated health pools, and can spawn in higher numbers, making inexplicable cross-map deaths par for the course. That's not even mentioning the one down modifier you're required to turn on, limiting you and your team to just a single down before entering custody. Over the years, power creep has come to our aid slightly, with hugely powerful perk decks like Leech, Copycat and Stoic in our arsenal, but even so, there are a few heisters out there who don't shudder at the thought of a DSOD Goat Simulator or Lab Rats, which will be required to unlock all core completion achievements and difficulty mass for your heisters. However, due to its co-op nature, you can always be a passenger and get carried through these heists, meaning whilst it is a massive time sink and worthy achievement to earn, it's not what makes Payday 2 stand amongst the toughest full clear games in the industry. No, if we want to talk about real time investment, we have to talk about the infamy achievements. Payday 2 has always had a 100 level system, but over the years it's also expanded with the infamy mechanic, a sort of prestige which allows you to keep progressing after level 100 and earn cool cosmetic rewards in the process. As your infamy gets higher, up to infamy 25, the leveling process will also get faster, making earning those levels smooth sailing after a while, and even better, as of a recent update, you no longer have to reset back to level 0 to push through the ranks of infamy, you can simply use your banked experience instead once you hit level 100. But that's only half the story, as to unlock the final infamy based achievement and cosmetic, you must earn the King Amongst Thieves, which unlocks at infamy 100. Even with all those boosts I mentioned earlier, that's a lot of grinding. Speed leveling crews have managed to min-max the process to around 40 minutes, but I'd argue after infamy 25, a 2-hour infamy cycle is actually a respectable time to shoot for. With those earlier infamies taking longer, in total I'd guess it takes between 250 and 300 hours of gameplay for even a well-organised team to grind for all leveling achievements. To put it into perspective, I'm infamy 93 with almost 3.5 thousand hours in the game, although the majority of those came before the 3.0 update. But that's not all. Whilst hitting infamy 100 fulfills the achievement criteria of 100%ing the game, it ain't the max level. That honour goes to the big D, infamy 500. So yeah, you're looking at upwards of 1,000 hours to reach that insane milestone for true completion. That sounds like a lot on the achievement front, but if you're willing to put in the time and money, it's absolutely within your grasp. Wait, money? Oh yeah, Payday 2 also includes DLC achievements, and whilst it has one of the best DLC models in the industry when it comes to heists, allowing you to join but not host any heist in the game regardless, it's a fair bit more restrictive when it comes to weapon packs. At full price, there's over £200 worth of DLC in the game, and even if you were being selective and only purchasing the necessary add-ons, it would still require a fairly large financial investment to hit that 100% goal. Not to mention, many of the game's cosmetics are locked behind DLCs you may or may not be counting toward your completion. Speaking of cosmetics, there are thousands to unlock in Payday 2, most of which can be acquired by just playing the game, and will be found over the natural course of completing those prior challenges. The vast majority of masks, mask customizations, and weapon attachments can be obtained via the loot drop cards that you're rewarded with after heist completion. These are unlocked at random, although the process can be sped up by using Continental coins to purchase all weapon attachments. As for the masks, colours, patterns and materials, you're simply going to need to get lucky. There were a few Halloween exclusives back in the day, but these can now be unlocked all year round. My old method is still probably the best for this, ECM rushing jewelry store or Ukrainian job for sub 30-second clears. Whilst tedious and highly RNG dependent, you should eventually be able to unlock all loot drop cosmetics, especially when we consider the offshore payday mechanic that makes use of your offshore funds to speed up the process. That isn't all for unlockable cosmetics though. There's also the holdout exclusive unlocks that will require you to grind out Payday's forgotten game mode for additional patterns, weapons, colours and infamous masks. There are 63 unique unlocks to find, and you'll get a pool of 12 potential card drops for clearing Wave 9. Holdout is a time-based mode taking roughly 30 minutes to clear, meaning you'll require a fair few hours of grinding to eventually unlock them all, although in my personal experience, this part of the grind is far faster than any other. Of course, some cosmetics and attachments can also only be unlocked by completing certain specific achievements, but I've already covered the difficulty of those. Then we have weapon and armor skins. These will drop daily within your post-heist card rewards and are relics of Payday 2's short-lived loot box system. Even I'm against counting these towards completion as they're completely random in how they drop and can mostly just be bought on the Steam marketplace. I don't think purchasing completion is really in the spirit of this whole challenge, despite all the required DLCs, so here's where I draw the line and say you can happily 100% Payday 2 without owning every safe skin added to the game. However, the waters do get murkier when it comes to masks and characters. Both are fairly pivotal to gameplay, and unfortunately, not all are accessible within Payday 2 anymore. Scarface and his perk deck Kingpin, the completely overkill pack, and pre-order loot bag DLC are all no longer available for purchase on any platform. There are still a few unused codes flying around for sale on the internet, but if you understandably don't want to be gouged for hundreds of dollars by third-party resellers, they're effectively impossible to obtain. This sort of locks players who missed out on them out of that 100% save file we're all coveting, again raising the inherent difficulty of achieving this goal. But, at least in my experience, there's still one challenge that goes above and beyond any other in gating that perfect save file. When Payday 2 added the new safe house, the devs decided that thousands of achievements weren't enough. They needed in-universe trophies to unlock continental coins and customizable additions to the home base. These range from the lore-relevant coffer trophies, required to complete the secret, to a few decorative flamingos earned by shooting them on Scarface Mansion. Yes, I have no idea why Overkill are calling them pelicans. In any case, the trophy system is effectively a second wave of achievements, many of which, whilst not as brutal, are just as awkward to complete as the standard achievements. Again, some require teamwork, and to this day I've still never cleared Mercenary or Scrap Metal. However, with the right team and a few online guides, it shouldn't be too difficult for you to earn 65 out of the 66 total trophies. But the real mark of a hero is Rob the Cop, Payday's most ludicrous challenge. It requires you to kill a total of 655,893 enemies. Now, if you've played Payday before, you'll know the act of murder is really not that hard. You'll end most heists with enough blood in your hands to make even John Wick blush. But even regular kill figures in the 100s will barely make a dent on this astronomical task. On the plus side, sentry kills do count. On the other hand, incendiary kills don't for some reason. This means that not every kill you've ever picked up will even be counted. Let's say on average you earn 150 kills per heist, and I think that's being generous, bearing in mind stealth heists limit your kill count to around 4. But if we take that as a rough average, it would take 4,373 heists to achieve this goal. Again, the rough and probably generous average length of time of a heist is 15 minutes, so that would convert into almost 1,100 hours of playing the game normally. Insane. But of course, you don't have to play Payday 2 normally if you're seeking out Rob the Cop. In fact, fellow Payday partner Unknown Knight has a guide to min-max your kills per minute, taking a sentry setup on normal difficulty to the prison nightmare heist and setting up in the train for an endless assault killing spree. His top kills per minute were 132, which, if you could replicate sustainably without breaks, means 7,920 kills per hour. If you were some sort of gaming robot, in theory you could convert this kill rate into a fully completed Rob the Cop trophy in only 83 hours of gameplay. That doesn't sound too bad relative to some of the other achievements I've mentioned, but in truth, even if well optimized, it would likely take more than 100 hours of gameplay and is such a monotonous process, I'm not sure you'd be able to maintain your sanity throughout. Even with these farming possibilities in mind, unless you're one of the lucky few who was able to farm it up using the Hydra's mutator before that was patched out, Rob the Cop is one of the most time-consuming and soul-destroying challenges in both Payday 2 and all of gaming. Combining all of these elements of completion, you can probably start to get some perspective on why 100%ing Payday 2 is a nightmare, as one of the toughest and longest time sinks in gaming history. I suppose it's that perfect storm of 10 years worth of content, a team of reasonably sadistic devs, and a DLC number that rivals Train Simulator. I'm going to go out on a limb and say there are few games harder than Payday 2 when it comes to a challenge like this, and it would be ridiculous to even attempt if you're a relatively new player to the game. Even if you were dedicated to completing this specific goal as efficiently as possible, you'd likely be looking at upwards of 3,000 hours of gameplay. But me, I've been riding this crazy train for coming up to 10 years, meaning I've done enough of the prep work to be in with a chance. So my plan is to try and complete as much of the 100% challenge as possible before Payday 3 comes out. I already own all prerequisite DLCs, have grinded 99% of all achievements, and have enough cosmetics to run Mask of the Day for approximately the next 50 years. I'm confident that at the very least I can knock out another few thousand kills for Rob the Cop and finally conquer my fear of playing public stealth for Tag You're It. The idea of grinding another 400 infamies, on the other hand, does not appeal quite as much. Regardless, this is how I'm planning to spend the final few months of Payday 2's development cycle before I can live it all over again in Payday 3. Here's hoping it's just as insanely expansive as Payday 2 was. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, subscribe for more Payday and gaming related content, and I'll see you all in the next one. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.